Going back to last week's win, I was proud of our guys for earning a win at Boston College, a very good team that's well coached on their senior day. That's, as you know, playing for their bowl eligibility and coming off a bye on a 3-game win streak and had been averaging 35 points a game. And we were able to hold them to 14. It wasn't pretty at times, but the guys found a way to stop them with four fourth down stops on defense, 2 takeaways, 1 in the red zone, and blocked a punt before the half, which led to 3 points, which ended up being the difference in the game. You know, offensively, we struggled finishing drives. We moved the ball well throughout the game, and were able to convert on 3rd down, which is something that we were concerned about because they've been really good 3rd down defense. But we were probably as good as we've been on 3rd down in a while. And we scored when we needed to. You know, the great run by Jay Sam down in the red zone, another one by Naheem. Those 2 explosive plays put us over the top. And came out of the game relatively healthy. I have no updates on our guys. I probably won't until tomorrow afternoon. But Justin felt good about them in our meeting Sunday. New week, new challenge, and playing a great Wake Forest team. 35 points a game, 3 straight weeks. They're 2nd in the ACC in scoring, behind Clemson, number 1 in the ACC in red zone offense. Their quarterback is playing really good. John Wofford is a competitive young man and played against him a lot. 20 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, number 1 in the ACC in pass efficiency and 14th in the country in completion rate. So he's playing at a high level. He's running the ball well. His receivers around him are playing well. And number 7's averaging 17 yards a catch, is a big target at 6'5". And their slot, Hines, hurt us last year and is back doing the same thing he did a year ago. And they have a lot of different concepts for him. I think their tight end's been there for 4 years. They're a lot like us. You know, they played a lot of young guys, and now they're seniors and juniors on their football team. And he's got 8 red zone touchdowns. Their tailback's playing really well and runs hard and is patient. You know, just systematically, you know, they do a lot of things with their RPO game that puts you in one-on-one situations, you know, whether it's a tackle or a coverage. But they're going to put the ball in the running back's hands and read your coverage and see where they can get run-pass conflicts and try to take advantage of them. We got to make plays on the ball. We've got to win the line of scrimmage. They do a good job of plays off of plays, and they have a lot of tricks and screens and screen and goes. So defensively, definitely have a strong challenge this week. Their defense, you know, takes the ball away. They're +5 in turnover margin. They're 2nd in the ACC and 6th in the country in TFLs as a defensive unit. So they're a disruptive defense. And Duke Ejiofor is a very good defensive player for them, 2nd in the league in TFLs, right behind Bradley. Jesse Bates has been injured. I'm not sure if he's playing against us or not, but I think he's a really good safety. And I've heard that he may be back. And their will linebacker, number 6, has 11 tackles for loss, disruptive guy. They blitz him a lot. Excited to play, you know, back-to-back in-state games here, and starting with one on the road, our last road conference game for our senior class, and it'll mean a lot to them to play well down there and start the first of 2 in-state games to finish the season. Questions?
You've played really well against them the last 2 years. I think they're both after a bye, but is there a thread there why you think you guys have been able to perform as well as you did against them?
We've executed. You know, we've had explosive plays to those games. We've got off to good starts in those games. You know, defensively, we were able to prevent them from having explosive plays for scores. They did have some long passes on us last year that we were able to tackle and keep off the scoreboard. So, you know, I think it means a lot to our guys. I know when I first got here, and I lost my first game to them down there, but it just hasn't been a place or a team really that we've played well against on the road and as a program. And that was one of the things, you know, that we've talked about, is always elevating our program and erasing things that used to be that way from how we look at things and how we want things to be looked at for us. And so we did play very well last time we were down there, and that hasn't been traditionally how NC State plays that way. And so we know that, you know, not only do we have to do that again, but this is probably the best Wake team we've played since I've been here. I think they're playing really good on offense, and their quarterback's exceptional right now.
You mentioned the 2 in-state games to finish the regular season. With the Atlantic Division now out of the picture, winning a quote-unquote state championship, beating all the state teams, how important is that?
It matters a lot, you know. I just think, you know, the pride you have, being the best team in the state. We don't get to play everybody, but playing the teams that we play, you know, and then having a better record than all of them at the end of the year. I think all those things come into play, and you use it in recruiting. And, but just, you know, that's one thing that makes this state unique, having 4 conference teams in the state. And we get to play 2 of the 3. I think it matters to our guys quite a bit. And, you know, getting to play at their place second straight week on the road and leading up to what comes after that, I think our guys are going to be really focused on what we need to do.
I think you were understandably frustrated after the game with the kicking situation, but now that you've had a couple of minutes to think about it, what is the answer still the same, or have you?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing. The bad part is, you know, Kyle hit the ball well. I mean, the ball came off his foot. He had good height. I mean, he hit 4 straight before the half, and you think you're going to have some really good confidence from that moment. And then it just didn't happen for him in the second. So, you know, we're not at a point where we can go find somebody else, and, you know, we just got to keep hoping that he can put it through the uprights. But we definitely need to be more aggressive in the red zone and get touchdowns and not put him out there if we don't have to, too. I mean, that's one thing that I'm frustrated with more than anything. We're getting down there a lot and not getting 7. And we need to get 7 more when we're in the red zone and not put it on him. Our offense has got enough playmakers in it, and our quarterback can throw the ball well. We got to put the ball in the box and not make our kicker have to be the guy that scores every time we're down there.
Coach, in the last several weeks, Ryan's struggled a little bit against Notre Dame, then Clemson, and then this past week against Boston College. What types of things is he working on to kind of improve and get back on track against a Wake Forest team?
I thought he played really well against Clemson.
He did. I apologize for saying that. 14-14
Yeah,
to start, and then a little
good.
bit off on the second half, though.
Yeah, I thought he played really well against them, and they're one of the best defenses in college football. You know, he did struggle against Notre Dame and Boston College. I don't know if that was a cold thing that impacted him more than he wants to admit. Probably never know that, but, you know, both of those games it was in the 30s, and Notre Dame it was windy, and so maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know. He was off last week for sure, and just got to get him back in a rhythm, let him play, and get him back to doing what he was doing.
I know that Wake Forest already had your full attention, but when you see an opponent that you're getting ready to play put up 64,
Yeah.
well, what do you think?
750 yards and 64 points. Yeah. And you look at, you know, statistically, I mean, they're second or first in almost every category offensively right now, and it's not just because of the quarterback. I mean, they're running the ball well. Their tailback is making the people miss. He's running through contact. Their offensive line is getting a body on a body, and so, you know, the last 3 games, we've had 625 against Louisville, 587 against Notre Dame, and 734 against Syracuse. You know, that's pretty good offensive statistics right there for 3 games.
Scheme-wise, are they decidedly different under the new D coordinator, or is he more the same?
It's the same shell that they played. You know, they're still 4 down. Whether they're 4-3 or 4-2-5, that changes from time to time. There are still quarters in cover 3 and man free like Elko, but it's different. It's not completely different, but it is different.
I have 2 different questions for you. Was there something unusual about the play clock at Boston College? Was something weird going on?
What part of the game?
The first kick, he made the 48-yarder, but then it was a delay game penalty. And it seemed like the clock was...
There was one time during the game where the clock was running when it shouldn't, and they stopped the game, went back and added time to the clock. That was the one that I remember.
Okay. It seemed like it was
Yeah,
continual.
that was the one that I remember.
The flux there. And back to Ryan, he's a unique person, but he's still a person. Is there a chance that he's affected by seeing his name in these mock drafts and all of a sudden being a first-round pick?
Without having that conversation, I wouldn't be able to give you a fair answer to that. I mean, I know Eli had mentioned during the bye week, he and Ryan sat down because that was when it all kind of started, and he said, "Coach, I'm not thinking about it. All I'm doing is thinking about winning." And so at that point, that's where we were. You know, he's got a great family, and he's very centered. So I'm hoping that that's what's going on. You know, I do think at times people forget that we just played back-to-back top 4 teams that were pretty damn good, and one of them was 30-degree weather and the wind. Give the kid a little break there, you know. At Boston College, he didn't play well. I'll tell you, he didn't play well. So, you know, he's human.
Chubb breaking the record for career sacks. How proud were you of him when that happened?
Yeah, I was really happy for him, and I just think, you know, when you grow into this business and you see how it's changed, not just with the social media aspect, but just how kids are these days, where they want things, they don't want to earn them, and they're not willing to sacrifice things, and they think about themselves in front of their team. He did the opposite, and now he's gaining all the reward from it, not just with his stock at the NFL, but every record that he could have shattered, he's doing that now. And it was pretty cool after the game. Somebody said in the locker room, like, I know I mentioned it in my press conference, but you're going to have to get a different patch for somebody's jersey with his name on it. And I just started laughing. Like, to be a part of that and watch him earn that respect from his teammates and the country is, it's what you do it. I mean, it's awesome for him and for the family. And I really think it's great for football, for kids to see that. Like, this is what happens if you just keep working. And this wasn't a guy that was a 5-star guy. This was a guy that made himself into one.
Dave, the Syracuse defense that State faced was pretty good. As you went back and watched the game from Saturday, Wake Forest and Syracuse, what impressed you the most about the Wake Forest comeback in that game?
They had a lot of explosive plays, you know. I think Syracuse got caught trying to do too many things against some exotic things that Wake was doing, and then their quarterback got out and just ran all over them. I mean, they were in some blitzes, and with a quarterback run game, if you're in a single high coverage, if he gets out at you and the safety left, you know, and it happened multiple times. Their tailback split them on a couple. That quarterback is really, really changing their offense, you know. And he's always been feisty and tough and, you know, competitive, but he's never been healthy. Like, he always had an ankle or a shoulder or something. He's always been banged up every year we've played him. And he looks really good right now. And I think that's the difference. But their number of explosive plays in the last 3 games, I don't have it in front of me, is impressive.
Coach, you mentioned the Boston College win. It wasn't pretty at times, but it was a win. And throughout the nation, you probably won't give much credit. I mean, it's just Boston College people think, but to grind out a win there,
Yeah.
just going back, how tough was that?
Yeah, I was challenging them. They're a good football team. They had 9 seniors on defense, and they have a unique system on offense. I mean, you're playing goal line defense, you know, for 50 snaps. You might not play that for 3 seasons, you know, and you're playing it for 50 snaps of a football game with all these different run fits that you don't see anymore, the different motions, and that's a challenge, you know, on anybody. And we held them to 14 points. I mean, they just beat 3 straight teams scoring 35 points a game plus, and one of them was Florida State and one of them was Louisville. And as far as credit goes, you know, I don't know. I mean, we've lost 3 games. 2 of them were the top 5 teams, and one of them is to a very good SEC team. And I don't think people really look at that stuff right now with us for whatever reason. You see other teams ranked higher than us that have losses against unranked teams. So it is what it is. All we can do is just keep winning and hope that that gets us where we want to be at the end.
Seems like every week, one of the linebackers has like 13 tackles. You just talk about the group that you got.
Our team? Or?
Yes, sir, your group. They seem like they're really doing a good job bridging between the line and the secondary, I would say.
Most of the time, yeah. I mean, we gave up a long run again, which was really disappointing, frustrating, made me angry, made Hawks angry, and it was a basic formation where our linebackers did not line up right on that play. So, you know, I think those guys, those 3 that are playing, are busting their butts. They're working hard. They take a lot of pride, and they're great kids. And we expect, them to fit everything the way it needs to be fit and make the plays that they need to make, and that's the standard they've set for themselves. And so, I know they really want to stop the run, and they're sick of seeing the ball get run for more than 15 yards on the play. So hopefully that'll happen this week for us.
You mentioned the rankings. Will you watch the CFP show on Tuesday?
No. I'll see it, final part of it, but I won't watch it.
Have you
I
started
don't have
doing?
enough time.
Have you started doing any of the calculus of what some of
No,
those things
I don't like
could lead
calculus.
to?
I just know, I just know our strength of schedule is real. Like, we look at who we've played and who we've beaten, we have a very strong schedule. And we didn't win all those games, but, we were in a 3-2 game with South Carolina, and they've got 7 wins in the SEC now, and we were in a 3-2 game with Clemson, and they're pretty good. And so, I think that we deserve some credit if we win out, and we'll see where that puts us. We got to win out first.